Question 4. How did you use media technologies in the construction and research planning and evaluation stages? During the processes of research, planning, construction and evaluation across my cross-media product, I have utilized many different forms of technology. Throughout the whole process of my media project, I have used an Apple Mac computer, which allows me to gain access to many editing software packages such as Adobe Photoshop, GarageBand, Final Cut Pro and Visual Hub. I have also constantly used WordPress, which is an online cloud where I used to upload my work for my teachers to see. WordPress is available on any platform of computer, therefore benefiting me as I had access to my work from college and my home computer. Throughout the research and planning stages of my cross-media package, I used a variety of different media technologies. The internet was a key feature I used, as this allowed me to discover many other social realism films which I could get ideas from. The internet also allowed me to find many posters and websites for different social realism films, which allowed me to understand the different conventions throughout the genre, therefore allowing me to generate different ideas of my own cross-media package. I went on to record a focus group which involved me to ask some questions to the target audience about the poster, website and trailer for the film Ill Manners. The focus group allowed me to gain some understanding about what the target audience did like and didn't like, therefore giving me some ideas to take into consideration when creating my own poster, website and trailer. When creating my focus group, I used a HD video camera so that my target audience was visible to the viewers. I then went on to further develop my focus group by editing it in Final Cut Pro, which is a video editing software. Using this, I added the poster, website and questions which we were discussing in the focus group into the video to allow the viewer to see what the target audience was talking about. I then finally went on to use another media technology of YouTube, which I used to upload my focus group onto the internet and into my WordPress blog. I also used a scanner during my planning stage. I used this as I had to scan and upload my storyboard, treatment writing and preliminary shooting script onto WordPress. I also created an online Prezi presentation for one of my first initial ideas, which was during the very early stages of my research. Prezi is an online cloud-based presentation software that allows you to create online presentations with different effects and themes. When I began to construct my cross-media package, I used a range of new media technologies. An editing program that I used repeatedly was Adobe Photoshop. I used this when creating my poster and website. When using Photoshop, a common tool I used was the Magic Wand tool. I used this so I could cut out each of the characters on my main image. I did this as I wanted to place each character on another background image, which I had taken. Another tool I've used frequently was the hue saturation, plus the black and white tools when editing my image. Using these tools allowed me to change the colour levels of my image so that I could give it a more sinister look to reinforce my social realism genre. This also allowed me to create a house style which I used both on my poster and website. I took all my images used on my website and poster with an SLR camera. I then had to put the SD card from the camera into my Mac computer so I could transfer the images into Photoshop. The Photoshop files when creating my poster and website were PSD. I had to therefore change these into JPEG files so they could be formatted as images, which I could then import into Final Cut and WordPress. I then inserted a PNG file of a low opacity black background which I placed over my main image to represent the sinister house style. I also used Photoshop when creating my captions for the trailer. I made sure that each caption was placed in the center of the screen. I did this by using rulers so I knew it would be accurate. I also had to make each caption as a PAL D1DV file so I could import these into Final Cut Pro. I also used Photoshop to create my title, billing block and release date that were placed on my trailer, again making sure that they were in the center of the screen. When constructing my trailer, I used various different media technologies. I began by actually filming each of the scenes. I filmed some scenes with an SLR video camera. I did this for the still shots where the camera was placed on a tripod. However, I also used a handheld video camera for the handheld shots so that my trailer would give a sense of realism. Once I had filmed all the scenes for my trailer, I then had to import each short file into Final Cut Pro, a non-linear video editing software, so that I could edit and construct my trailer. The selection tool allowed me to put my video clips in a non-linear order, allowing me to edit different parts of my trailer, such as the sound and footage, at different times. A tool that I used constantly throughout the construction process of my trailer was the rendering tool, which I had to use in order to play back my trailer after editing it. The use of the pen tool allowed me to add toggle overlays so that I could change the volume of sound within each clip using key points. This was an important tool as some clips in my trailer had a high volume whereas others had low volume. I also used this so that my voiceover would fit the music in the background. I also used a tool which allowed some of my clips to be modified, allowing me to change the speed of them. I used this to speed up my time-lapse of a city. I also used it for a second scene within the film, where a male was holding a packet of drugs. I used this within my trailer as it was conventional in films such as Ill Manners. Once I had finished with the editing of my trailer, I began to look for background music. GarageBand allowed me to find and export MP3 files into Final Cut Pro, known as software integration, therefore allowing me to create and add a soundtrack to my trailer. By using GarageBand, I was able to listen to many different soundtracks and find the right soundtrack for my social realism genre. I also used GarageBand as this uses copyright-free soundtracks which I needed for my trailer. I then added a voiceover onto my trailer which involved a male speaking about what the individual scenes were showing. I recorded these by using a dictaphone. I then had to import these files into YouTube Converter in order for them to become MP3 files, which then allowed me to import these into Final Cut Pro. I then exported my finished trailer as a QuickTime movie, which allowed me to upload it on YouTube and add it on the WordPress blog. In the evaluation stage of my cross-media package, I used Final Cut Pro in order to construct 3 more videos. I also used this to import screen recordings using QuickTime Player of me using different tools within Final Cut, to show viewers where to find them and how to use them. Another tool I used within my evaluation was a dictaphone. This piece of technology allowed me to record my evaluation so I could add this into my free evaluation videos. However, the files from the dictaphone had to be converted into MP3 files. I did this using a software called Visual Hub, allowing me to successfully import the files into Final Cut Pro. I also went on to use PollDaddy on my WordPress blog, which allowed me to gain an audience feedback on my trailer, poster and website. I also used WordPress so that I could upload all my work for my cross-media package for my teachers to see. A final tool I used within my evaluation was Wirewax. Wirewax is an online cloud video editing software which allows you to add special effects and tags of images, websites or texts onto a created video. I used this in my question 1 evaluation video so I could add links to websites explaining the Todorov and Altman theories in more detail.